All right, good afternoon. Oh, I guess we're still morning. Good morning to everyone who is here. I'd like to welcome you to the Stage Combat Workshop from Noble Blades. I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Jessie Marr. I am the Artistic Director of StageWorks of Culpeper, which is a part of Winmore. It is the Culpeper Community Theater. We are doing a number of shows coming up soon, including a murder mystery dinner theater at the Sangria Bowl, and a few more in June. But one of the things that we do is that we sponsor workshops just like this one with Noble Blades, including at our spaces and in other spaces around Culpeper. And I am really excited to introduce you all to Noble Blades. They have come all the way down from Reston to do this workshop. Now, I will tell you it is, as much as possible as you are able, a participatory workshop. You can stay and you can watch or you can participate. If you are participating, please be sure to pay attention. So I'm going to hand it over to Ian, who is the Managing Director of Noble Blades, so he can introduce you and tell you about what's going to be happening today. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, big round of applause for StageWorks. So we are the Noble Blades. We exist primarily as a arts education training organization dealing with stage combat, movement, intimacy, superhero training, whatever the community needs, all primarily around stage combat, staged violence, and moments of conflict. We teach classes up in Herndon and Reston. We've got long-form classes that are skills proficiency classes, learning weapons like sword and shield, staff, sword play, unarmed. And then we do small special topic stuff like how to be a superhero, how to fight like a pirate. We're going to do a high fall class coming up pretty soon. So if that interests you, look us up. It's a good time. I'm also getting used to speaking on a mic because this is new for me. We don't usually get mics on stage.
Yeah, definitely new.
So my name's Ian. I'm the managing director and one of the lead instructors.
I'm Caitlin. I'm the treasurer, armor, and marketing manager for the Noble Blades. Many hats.
So, how I'd like to do this is talk a little bit about what stage combat, what fights look like in theater, in television, and film. If you have questions, please raise your hand. I may answer them now in the context of where we are, or they may come up later. I'd like to get you all up and moving as well, if you'd like to do so. Consent is important. If you don't want to get up and move around and would just like to watch, that's cool too. Our primary mission is to create the illusion of combats, fights, violence, all the way from normal folk having a bar brawl to vampires who have superhuman abilities, or heroes who've been bitten by a radioactive spider, what have you. All of these things, whatever the context of the story is within the realm of what we need to somehow reproduce on stage with normal people. So it's a lot of illusion work. It's a lot of training, it's a lot of rehearsal. Nothing is improvised is the word. English is hard. And that's kind of the shtick. Any questions thus far about what my job looks like? Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Great. So, Superhero Combat 101. If anybody would like to come up and join us, we're going to walk through kind of the basics of, come on down. Some basic tools, tricks, training that are good tools to have in your back pocket. So, where would we like to start?
I don't know.
Does anybody know the Batman and Robin meme where Robin's saying something and Batman's like, no? Let's start there. That sounds like a great place to start. Little bit of a soapbox for me. We don't hit people in the real world. That's called assault. If you find yourself on stage, on camera, and somebody's like, just hit him for real, I encourage you to say no. What's that? Just because somebody did doesn't mean it's a good idea. So, find a friend, find a sidekick, a arch nemesis, a partner. Great. So what we're going to do here, I like to call a V-slap or a check slap. It is, once again, illusion work. And so for everybody on stage with us, we're going to have we're going to be facing thusly to hopefully create illusion for our friends in the audience and the camera.
Anybody?
Actually, why don't you go? I can do it because it's fake. I can referee children. You gotta know it.
Great, great, great. So how this is going to work, you're going to look at your partner, you're going to raise one hand as if to say, hello there. This is going to do two things. This is going to tell your partner, hey, I'm about to slap you, and B, tells the audience, hey, I'm about to slap them, because there's going to be someone way in the back of the house going, Martha, hey, look, he's going to slap him. You're going to raise up. You're going to come right down like a karate chop above their shoulder, not making contact with their shoulder, but reaching far as you can, probably past their ear, past where you think you need to. This is not the slap yet. This is just the prep for the slap. The reason I like this slap in particular is because you can do it so many different ways. It can be the big swing through. It can be threaten, threaten, threaten. I'm Bane, pull it. It can be Will Smith at the Oscars. All of this works, but the key part here is that we are finding hand above shoulder, past ear. From here, you are hinging right at the elbow and coming right back to your shoulder. You are not swinging across their face. You are chopping down. You are chopping right back up.
And this will work if we go one at a time. So the people that are on Ian's side of the partners, you're going to go first. Otherwise, we're going to clap in the middle, and it's not going to work as well. So
everyone's going to be an Ian or Caitlin.
Yes.
Ians of the world are going to raise their hand, say hello. Karate chop down above the shoulder, reaching past the ear, hinging at the elbow, and coming right back to my opposite shoulder.
Beautiful. Yes. Cool.
Yes. Now we have to add in the sound of the nap.
Oh.
The trick here is to hide it in motion. We primarily work in live entertainment. We don't get a Foley artist in post-production to add in the sound of contact afterwards, so we have to make it ourselves. So the way this is going to work is Caitlin's going to raise her hand and say, hi there.
And we're going to watch first, and then we'll do it together.
And this is a great time for me to go, oh, no, 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 because I don't want this to happen. But now my hands are prepped so that when the hand comes back up, I can hide that in motion. Does this make sense? Everybody together, Caitlin's of the world, raise your hand, say hi there. Karate chop down on the shoulder. Oh, no, no, no. And when the hand comes through, hand contacts hand, spin your head. How's that feel? Yes, thank you.
And don't feel bad if you don't get the nap on the first time. They're kind of hard. We miss them all the time.
Yes, it's true. Now we got to do it the other way.
So you can stay in the orientation you were.
But now Caitlin's are going to slap Ian's.
Ready?
Ready.
So with the downstage,
Yeah, sure.
camera side,
Camera side.
camera side. Raise up, hello. Down to the shoulder, hinge at the elbow, back.
Great. How do we feel with all this?
Questions?
I'm going to move fairly quickly so that we have time for questions and discussion at the end.
Excellent.
So, moving on, we're going to get a little bit, how to fall down. Always a good thing to know. How to fall down safely. Actually, we're going to do this in tiers because, as the wise Deadpool once said, superhero landing is hell on the knees. So we got to fix that. Train has been derailed.
That's okay.
So how this is going to work, the trick to anytime you need to get contact with the ground is to get as low to the ground as possible before gravity takes over and to not hit joints, which is terrible when you have to end here. This doesn't make a good sound.
No, carpet doesn't usually.
I do this great trick on wood where I smash my knees into the deck and it makes this horrifying sound. It's a great trick. Don't try it. Don't try it anywhere. So the way this is going to work, this is called a squat fall. Anybody who wants to join in can do that, but the trick is to squat, 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 squat all the way down under your own power. Then you can place joints on the ground, but you're placing them on the ground, not... Nope, that doesn't work. I tried. Not slamming knees into the ground. So when we're talking about the context of a superhero landing, if you were to land, you're going to land, squat, 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 place. I also encourage probably an open hand. The heel of your palm is going to be a lot stronger than the knuckles of your hand, unless you've actually done some punching training. So whatever your landing is, you're going to land, squat, 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 place. This is a great way to get that superhero landing in and not smash joints. There is, of course, the Black Widow variation that does require some amount of inner thigh flexibility.
Perfect. Yeah, you guys got it.
But once again, not putting any joints on the ground, landing, squat, 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 place. Look up dramatically.
And you'll notice, as we were talking about knees, you'll notice that I am not doing this move. Please protect your knees, and if your knees don't feel good doing this, don't do it. It's important. Protect them. Beautiful.
So, taking that and adding a little more gusto, getting all the way down to the ground, thinking about this as a choice, taking this step out with the right leg. The goal is to get down to the ground without hitting anything, including the lavalier mic in your pocket.
All right, watch first, and then we'll spread you guys out a little bit.
So I encourage that step out to the side, squatting all the way down. You have a lot of nice padding in your rear end. Sit, lay down. Does this make sense? Great. So making sure you have side-to-side clearance.
Yeah, spread out a little bit, yeah.
You are going to take a large step out, one direction or the other. Squat, 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 squat. Sit down, lay down.
Nice. Even on the carpet, I didn't hear any loud thuds. That's great.
That was fantastic. The thing we want to keep out of this whole process is the hands. It takes about 25 pounds of pressure to snap a wrist, half that to snap an elbow. So as much as you can do this without hands, the better.
Well done.
Thanks. Thoughts, questions, discoveries?
Good so far.
Great. Play with that for a minute. Hey, audience, how's it going? Oh, thank you.
Do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help?
No, it's just scooting. I'm going to go through this so fast. All right, so we're going to kick this up one more level. I see a member of Starfleet in the audience. This is for them. So, one of my favorite moves that I'll put on stage we affectionately call the Kirk Hammer Chop. And so the way this works is thus. We can put a small amount of force into a human body. Everybody give me a single clap. That's about as much force as you want to put into a human body. The rest is acting. Victim controls the violence. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to look for a nice soft spot, which is just basically where the shoulder blade is. And I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to make this big old hammer fist. I'm going to put a little bit of force into this, but not a whole lot of force. Flat palm. The idea here is to either hide it from the audience or make it so quick that nobody's going to see it. A little bit of force. No more force than a clap. But if we do that same thing, and I've just been punched, beaten, whatever, this is a nice finishing move that I can be down. Caitlin's going to do the hammer chop right onto my lat.
He does it better than I do.
And we just did the squat fall. I just did it faster. Does that make sense? So find a friend. You're going to make a nice, big old, violent-looking fist. Find the target first. Don't put force into the first time. Punch, 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 punch. Flat. Punch, 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 punch. I encourage you to find one fist, hand over fist. This is going to let you flatten a little bit easier than interlacing your fingers.
Nice. Nice. Oh, sorry.
So the sound of impact is actually coming from contact. You're making the clap force into the nice soft tissue here. This is a great time to communicate. Characters have intention, characters have pain, characters have conflict. Actors should not. So if you're playing whoever, you should talk to each other and, hey, maybe that was a little hard, you can give me a little more sound. But ideally finding that nice solid sound without too much violence.
Nice vocalization.
Haha.
Kind of works. And I don't want to hit you too much. You're already handicapped with that.
All right. Moving forward once again, we can build a little bit of a combination. Yes. So the way this is going to work, we're going to start dealing with a little bit of illusion, which is also great if you happen to have super strength that you want to maybe punch somebody but not disintegrate their skull. So the way this is going to work, Caitlin's going to throw a punch at me, but it's going to be nice and big and nice and wide, and we're going to control the force that we're putting into this. We're not going to put actual force into partner, but round that momentum away so that when that punch comes through, there's not really any force happening here, but we can throw the twist of the hip and that can fly real big and out. And we're going to tell the story that that punch comes and I'm just going to stop it. And I'm going to put palm, bunny hands, little puppy ears right there. We can make nice solid contact, nice good sound there. Actually, this is going to look better the other way because I'm bigger than you. That I throw this punch. Other hand?
Oh.
Yep. And so we're either going to use Barbie hand or outside of the forearm. What we don't want to do is the martial technique of putting the blade of the forearm because that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
It also doesn't look quite as good. Either forearm or hand has a nice quality to it, especially for acting, that I know what I'm doing. Ha! Great. And that's why I took off the watch.
Yep.
So let's start there. Find your sparring partner. One person is going to throw the punch. We are not putting force into the punch, but we're throwing the momentum away. I envision this as throwing a frisbee, letting it fly, but no force involved. From here, Caitlins of the world are going to move their hand down to my shoulder. This is the right room to ask, who knows who John Wayne is?
Yes.
Yeah! John Wayne had a very iconic punch, which we just lined up for. So we went from block the punch down to the shoulder. Caitlin lines up for a real big swing, shows the whole audience what's happening. I don't really have anywhere to go. The way this works is hand rolls off the shoulder. Punch comes through, punch, 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 punch. Open, I have the reaction. Now we just showed you the trick. When this happens in tempo, everything gets hidden. Ha! Ah! Except you're not going to fall down. I have more in store for you.
Yes.
So, finding this with your partner. Ooh. Acting. You need to cultivate a character. I don't know why you're fighting. You know why you're fighting. So find that moment between your partner. Make eye contact. Ians of the world are going to come in. Nice big punch. Make it as dramatic as you want. It gets blocked.
Perfect. Yep.
Hand slides down to my shoulder. Cue up for big old punch. Punch comes through. Face. I have suddenly decided that Caitlin's the hero and Caitlin's going to win. So if you're the Caitlin of the world, you're going to win this fight.
Woo!
How's everybody feeling thus far?
Good?
Good job.
Nice.
One last We Met Our Heroes. I just got punched in the face. Take that moment. You just got your bell rung. Come back, square up. What Caitlin's going to do is Caitlin's going to place her foot right at the top of my thigh. Caitlin is going to place it there and add just a little bit of pressure. Not force, not pushing, but just pressure. The trick herein lies that I am going to remove my leg and that pressure is going to follow through. So that we've set this up and I take that. And so in context, place foot, kick. And we can play that a whole bunch of different ways based on where the foot is, what I do with my body, that even into pushing me all the way as if it were a stomach kick. But this is a nice solid place to put your foot. So walking through the whole fight from the start, find your person, big old punch. Oh. I come back for more. Ah.
And that's where we are.
And that's where we are. Nice.
And remember to keep communicating with your partner. That was too hard. Go a little higher, a little lower. Make sure you're feeling good. Is it good to use the? Is it good to use the same side?
Yeah. And higher.
Do you want to share that?
So yeah. Small clarification. When you place this, and knees are important.
Yes.
So I would rather this be way higher than lower to blow out a knee. Same goes for groin kicks. I would rather be kicked square in the testicles than blow out a knee with a groin kick.
It's just not worth it.
So here, I would like to add one of the classic improv games. Audience, how y'all doing out there? Hello. So you've been seeing us build this fight. What comes next? I don't know what that means, but I'm curious to hear about it.
Are you asking?
Headbutt. Okay.
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah, thank you. That's a good spot for it, too.
We had punch, down, John Wayne. I come back for more. Kick. So, yeah, this is great. Head is presented. The way this is going to work is I am going to make contact with my partner, get real close. I have lined up both hands. This hand is the presentation hand. This hand is really not doing anything, but it tells the audience we have connection, so that when I have this hand, which is in fact in a different place, we don't know the difference. We just see grab. I'm going to hide this behind the shoulder, and I'm going to make the sound, and again, nice open spot below collarbone, above breast tissue. We have eye contact. When we start to move, we are not going to look at each other's English. We are not going to look at each other's faces because your head goes where your eyes go. So if I look at my partner's nose, that's where my forehead is going. So I'm going to look at the nice open space over here. And if we get the timing right, I encourage you not to do this at speed for the first time.
Go slow.
So, walking through what we have thus far, we have big ol' punch gets blocked, hand down to shoulder, head, play the pain, comes back for more, thrown away, get hand, headbutt.
Play with that a little bit. Slow, nice and slow.
Yes.
Yes.
We absolutely can. And here I'll also add a trick. I am not looking down until the last moment because I want to put my nose between us, and we want to tell the story that four heads are coming together. We don't want to actually do that, but we want to tell the motion of head. So from here, nose, 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 head.
That makes them thrown off the nap noise a little.
Sometimes it's more dramatic, sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yep. Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay. Good. They're getting it.
Okay. I asked the question once again. We got headbutt last time. What comes next? Stomach. We can do it. Yeah, let's
Gut
do
punch.
stomach punch.
Punch. Yeah.
So, the magic here is in control and communication. The thing we do not want to do is lose control of hand and put it right through into our partner's spine.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Now, so the way this is going to work, and we are not going to do this at speed today because I don't want anybody losing their cookies in this nice little conference room.
Yeah. This one's very important to watch first.
So, Caitlin's gonna, who's punching who?
Yeah.
Who just did the headbutt? So I think the retaliation. The retaliation. So
Great.
I'm gonna punch you.
Caitlin's gonna punch me.
Caitlin's gonna punch Ian.
Good. Good. Excellent. There's wires coming out of my sleeve. You know all about that.
Yeah.
So, I am going to indicate, what hand are you punching with?
Let's do this one.
Great. I'm going to indicate to Caitlin where I would like this to make contact. Typically, somewhere in this region, you have a nice band of muscles right down here that you can make solid contact with. So, that is going to come right below the belly button. Very important that this is a loose fist, not a tight fist.
Nope.
You want loose fingers, and you can kind of hear this sound. This is what you're going for. That nice loose kind of sound. The mic is amplifying, it's helping me a little, but that's what you're going for. This is not a lot of force. What I will typically do with this punch is instead of driving forward, bend reality just a little bit, move myself offline so I have a little bit of a broken line with the elbow, and I can swing in with this punch. The audience is probably not going to know the difference because they still see this nice right angle, but this comes in, makes a little bit of contact. Once again, no more force than a clap, but we can throw this, make a little bit of sound. The rest is victim controls the violence with a nice big reaction, gut noise, oof, oof, a nice big oof.
Bow. Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah.
Hey, I've put it out on stage. I had the guy get punched in the stomach, walk right down to like right in front of the first row and start retching. Oh, great audience reaction. So, we're gonna place that punch.
We just did the headbutt. Oh, place first.
Place first, and then we're gonna communicate a good amount that Caitlin's gonna wind up, give it a little bit of force. This is pretty good. Put some body into it.
Okay.
A little bit more. Here's the thing. 90% of stage combat injuries are self-inflicted. One way or another. I have only been punched by a partner once. I have thrown my head into the deck or stabbed myself more times than I will admit. But also in partnering and training, if one of us is not confident in this, either by me flinching too early or Caitlin not putting a solid amount of force, we're going to train each other to move differently. That if I keep flinching and moving farther and farther, Caitlin's going to reach until the day that I don't. And then Caitlin's going to punch right through my spine. Similarly, if Caitlin doesn't put solid contact out there, I'm going to start moving closer and closer until the day that Caitlin doesn't and punches right through my spine. No spine punching.
No spine punching.
So, we line this up, we make eye contact. I have nice target presented, make a little bit of contact. Ugh! A little bit of psychology for you. The way human brains work, closer to the core, lower the pain response sound. Higher out from the body, higher the pain response. Ah! This is telling our audience all of the little lizard brain things that they want to know about what we're feeling. So, when last we met our heroes, we square up, we make eye contact. I come in, big haymaker punch. Caitlin will have none of that. Down to the shoulder, big John Wayne face. I feel that. I'm gonna come up big and strong. She's gonna kick me. Ah! I didn't like that. Hand on shoulder, line up. What you got? Oh! Thoughts, feelings, what do we think?
Finishing. Yeah.
I think Caitlin has to be the hero. I think the good guys have to win this one. We're not done yet. Friends on stage, we want to try the stomach punch?
If you don't want to, it's totally okay. Consent's important.
We are also not going to do it at speed, full force today, please.
Don't do it.
We can still tell the story. Here's a fun trick, especially if you have to play it on stage. You may have to warp reality in certain things. We do slow motion, time bending. It's all about the acting and the physicality. We can do the same motion with full physicality in slow motion. Same story. This does not need to be lightning fast. The audience wants to see that. So play with adding that full physicality, whatever that is. Play your character. So, all together with our friends.
Nice and slow.
We see, we wind up. Big ol' haymaker. Gets blocked. Hand slides down to shoulder. Big ol' punch. Into the face. That hurt. Square up again. Big ol' step, place, kick. Square up again, grab shoulder, line up, head, headbutt. What you got? Line up.
Oh, sorry.
Stomach. Here's the thing, don't rush the stomach punch. For each one of these steps, you want to make eye contact with your partner. You want to know that you are in the same headspace and the same bit of choreography that they are. Friends, in learning this fight, what comes next?
It's a back slap from you.
Oh.
It's a back slap.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure. Jump and back slap.
How would that look?
Sort of a,
Mario.
yeah, we could do that, but I want you to do that.
Okay.
So if
Show
we
me what I'm
switch
doing again?
spots real quick.
Okay.
I've just done the stomach
Cool.
punch. This as a nice finisher, although not really because we've got more time and I want to toy with the villain a little bit, mostly because it's fun to play with. So the way this is going to work, this, you're slightly doubled over. We are going to make eye contact first. Caitlin is going to know this is coming. But the mechanics of this is that this is going to travel from here, audience can see it, past head and down to my hip. Now, I'm going to add a jump to that, but this is where it's going. Does that make sense? Everybody do that once, just first. One person has just been punched in the stomach, slightly doubled over. Make eye contact with that person. Raise fist, down. Oof. Now, I'm going to make the sound for that. Also, just fun little tidbit. There's a correct. When we make the sound of impact, that's called a nap, K-N-A-P. So I'm going to make this nap. I'm going to do it on my rib because I can hide that. I don't know that sounds good. Is it?
I think the mic's good.
That's probably it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does it sound good? Yeah. Great.
Perfect.
So, line up for this, into the jump. Be sure that you know where your hand is going. If it goes anywhere it shouldn't, it should be shoulder, not face.
Yeah.
Shoulder is going to take more punishment than face. So, lining up for that jump, you're doubled over. Jump, I encourage jump land. Face.
This person should probably fall over. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
I know what's coming next then.
Oh, great.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yes, I have twisted thoughts. So, punch to the stomach. Boom. That hurt. Look back up. They're going to do that nice jump haymaker. Bam.
Don't forget your nap.
Yeah, that's your job.
I know.
From here, villain has been sufficiently beat down, but now we have to show them the error of their ways or turn them over to the cops or whatever. So Caitlin's going to come over here, and I'm going to look up, oh, please no more. And because Caitlin is a little bit vicious, the way this is going to work is not on top of the microphone that is expensive, but making contact right about where the collar is. I'm going to make contact here. The thumb is going to swing around and up to the jaw, and I'm going to bury. I am doing most of this myself. There is a nice big open space where my throat is. We're not touching my throat or neck, but I'm going to bury here. And from here, we're going to stand up together, but I'm going to do my darndest to make it look like I'm not doing the lifting, and Caitlin is. Caitlin's going to show this by putting load into her legs, and I'm going to do this by adding back bend to make it look like I shouldn't be able to stand up in this way. because Caitlin has some amount of untold strength to lift me up.
Yeah.
How do we feel about this? Great, taking it back a couple of steps. Stomach punch. We can also add another trickery to this. Let's do all this together. We'll line up for the stomach punch. Stomach punch, real slow, big old dramatic. Oh. Hitting the stomach. Look up what's coming next. They jump, they land, they punch down to the knee. I did this with one hand because I like it with one hand. You can also do two hand with this. Comes down. This is going to offer you all kinds of surface to play with. And I can actually, if I don't have the leg strength to do this, put this a little more on Caitlin that we can stand up together and I can at the very least have balance on my hands. Feel good?
Yep.
Great.
That's great. I looked up at the right time. That was great.
Cool.
Yeah, where are we at?
Not as far as I want to be. What's up?
We could drop them and then go like this on their stomach while they're like.
They really want to do a stomach kick.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
In which case, we're going to add that before the pickup because I kind of want the pickup to be like, you have been shown the error of your ways. Here's the jail cell. Yeah, so
Oh yeah, haymaker. Then.
stomach punch, haymaker, down. The way this is going to work, A, very carefully. B, in just the right spot. This is going right above your hip bone, basically where you got punched in the stomach. Nice solid spot right there. The way this works, watch first, is I am going to open this for Caitlin, that I have all of this open. Caitlin is going to sight with her knee where this wants to go. If the knee goes above the target, so too does the foot. So this is very important that wherever the target is, if the target is hip, knee goes to hip, foot follows. Now this is going to be with the top of your foot where the laces of your shoe are, if you have laces. And this is going to be just a small pop. Again, no more force than a clap, but instead with your foot.
Do not use your toe. Use
Do
the
not
laces.
use your toe.
Ready?
And we're going to sight this a couple of times and not just go for it. Yep.
Was that toe good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So then we can add just a little bit of force.
And adding body movement on this side and acting will make that look a lot more realistic.
We can walk through it together.
Let's walk through it together. Ready? All right, so we haymaker. Woo.
We've fallen down. We've gotten up a little bit.
Flip the other way. Flip that way. You're good.
You're on all
You're
fours.
Very slowly. Perfect. Yes, you got to be able to see. Perfect. Sight with your knee. Laces. Pop.
And I'm going to give it a little bit
Yeah.
arch to the back and fall over.
Pop. Nice. Everyone feel good? Remember to communicate with your partner. If that was too hard, too much toe.
Try it again.
How am I going to get you up? How am I going to get you up? Oh.
Maybe a little too much toe. Yeah, I'm good.
Yep. Point the toe.
Perfect. Nice.
So,
Yes, beautiful.
oh, the greatest laugh. So you've been kicked in the stomach. Find out where you fall because then we're continuing where we left off. of look up, no more, please, hand up. We can live in this struggle for just a little bit.
Which I'm not selling, but that's fine.
That's fine. And then I like this bit because I think it tells a good story. Either with this hand transitioning or with the other hand transitioning, come up into an ear grab because that's funny, and come along. So the way this works is that hand makes a pinch right below the ear. We are not actually pulling on the lobe, but it comes up to neck, pinch, hand, follow.
And once again, victim is controlling the violence. Don't actually grab their ear because it doesn't take a lot of force to take an ear off.
Nope, it does not.
Which is terrible, but you're gonna go under the ear, pretend to pinch, but I'm not actually grabbing
Nope.
his ear at all. Ian's gonna put a hand on, and we're gonna act it out. Makes sense? Yeah, that looks good. Want to run through the whole thing real slow?
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions first before we move on? Here or in the audience?
Yeah, audience, how you think of? Is this a good fight? Yeah. Good.
So much applause. All right.
What you got?
Yes.
Could we do something where we do the knee to the face?
I think we cover that with the headbutt.
Okay.
Yeah. And
might be
it's
able to
harder to sell. Like that one, you almost like if you have a camera, that's really good for a nice tight camera angle, head to knee. We do.
Yes, we do. Got us.
Next time we'll do fighting for film.
Next time.
Yeah. No. Let's walk through the whole fight. Add what you got.
If she's the one who has to go down on her knees, which one of us throws the first blow?
The person who goes down to the ground throws the first punch. So,
Nice and slow.
nice and slow. Add in the physicality. This is your moment. This is your characterization. This is the big grudge match that's been building the whole movie, and the characters finally face off. They rush in. They punch. It didn't work. They come down to the shoulder, big old punch. John Wayne. Oh. You're not done yet. Big old stomping. Kick away. Grab the shoulder, headbutt, bam. They come in for the stomach punch. Boom, ow. Haymaker. Jump, down. They're still going, they have to kick him one more time. Ugh. I'm not done yet. Yes, I am. I'm done. I'm done now.
Good job, guys. Very nice.
And guys against the wall, I love the added little motion.
Yes, making it your own and finding your character is half of the battle.
And that's the thing I can't give you. I am the choreographer, the stunt coordinator, the fight coordinator. I give you the tools, the building blocks. You got to make it your own. Nobody knows your character the way you do. I just know how to fight people. Cool. Thank you so much, fun participants.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have more time than I anticipated. But I love this as an art form in that there's community, there is so much going on. So I always try to build in some time for questions, answers, conversation, discussion. So what you got? I have 20 years in the industry, choreographing fights, mostly for theater, but a little bit for television. Caitlin works as a armor and fabricator, making weapons.
Yes, props is my specialty.
So, thoughts? What you got? Ask something, or this is going to be real boring.
What was your inspiration to get into this?
Oh.
So I got into this because I started doing community theater when I was 12, and I started off as a lighting kid.
Yes.
But the guy I started learning under was the co-founder of this organization called the Noble Blades. And so I grew up hearing the stories, seeing the workshops that they taught. So when I eventually went off to college, I started studying stage combat, came back, and refounded the group with Adam, and now we do stuff like this. But it's also, I mean, we see this stuff more and more, especially that almost every film has the sort of action-adventure subgenre. There's fights in every single film. There's, you know, we see the conflict on stage, and it's the magic of, you know, we can act up a storm, we can do Shakespeare, but once the swords come out, everybody sits up in their seat. It's bringing the audience on an emotional journey that you can't in other ways. So that kind of storytelling really speaks to me just because it is so visceral, and I love that.
What's your favorite weapon to work with?
My favorite weapon to work with? It's a toss-up between unarmed and probably what we call small sword or Italian fence. Unarmed just because it is so physical. You can really tell some kind of physical story on stage and get in there and tell something. Small sword just because it is so finesse and so pretty. It requires the technique that you don't get to see an awful lot. If you've ever watched The Duelist, great film, but it is just so specific and really fun to play with.
Let's hear from Caitlin. What are some of the tricks of doing weaponry for this kind of thing?
Some of the tricks. So I started doing this in high school. I was one of those high school theater people, primarily in props, and that's where I started. I went to college for this. I actually got a C in props class, which is hilarious. But I'm pretty good at it, I promise.
That's okay, I barely passed lighting design.
Yeah, exactly. You know. So the tricks I find are, it's a lot in the painting. If you can paint something to look realistic, you can make it out of almost anything. We have some polypropylene. I mess that up every time. They're rubber weapons. They're black. You can get them on Cold Steel.
Cold Steel makes them a lot of, look up training weapons.
Yes.
It usually comes back polypropylene, something like that.
Polypropylene.
A bunch of places make them, but they are great analogs for not putting steel on stage. They're usually
Yes.
cheaper, but they have similar weight profiles so that you can actually, one of my pet peeves seeing television, film, theater, anything, the perpetual cup that clearly has nothing into it. Same way with swords where it's plastic or wood and it doesn't have the same weight profile, so you can't see the force that you want to see in those motions.
And that is half the trick to stage props and stage weapon props, is the acting selling it. The polypropylene weapons you can carve up a little, they take paint really well. So finding a way to make it look realistic while using safer materials is the really big trick. One of my favorite weapons that we have, I fabricated for the Games Afoot. It's a...
It's a Ken Ludwig, Sherlock Holmes parody.
Someone gets stabbed in the back, so we found a posture harness, and we created an insert that matched the dagger we were using in the show. I bought one of the polypropylene knives and carved it up and made it look similar with paint and stuff. We had a blackout, we had some lightning, and they slid it into this posture harness, and it looked like she got stabbed. So it's really about working with the director, working with the actors, Working with costumes, we worked with her very closely. Lighting, everyone to bring together this stage prop and the prop effect. And I think that's probably my favorite thing about props in general, but stage weapon props. The illusion that you can get out of it and how collaborative it has to be to sell it.
So for some of the kids in the audience who want to be doing these things who don't realize that, acting is the one thing, what would you say to sell doing props or doing, backstage or stage management? What would you tell somebody who's just getting interested into it?
So I would say every aspect of theater, on stage or backstage, or in front of the stage, is equally as important to create the whole story together. I just saw a show where everything was phenomenal. The lighting was phenomenal. The costumes were amazing. The actors were really good. The set was beautiful. And the props, they had some cups in that you could tell that they weren't metal. You knocked them together and it was like a plastic sound. And the fact that, while in this instance it was a negative thing, the fact that props can make or break a moment is just incredible to me. The fact that every aspect of theater can make or break the story, it's not just about the acting all the time, is something I think is fascinating and absolutely worth pursuing as a career.
I mean, that's me as a whole, is the collaborative process, that it's not any one element. It has to be a collaborative process.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the whole thing is doomed to fail.
Yeah. And then we'll come over to you.
What are the favorite shows you've worked on? What's your favorite performance you got to be a part of?
If you want to think
I'm a
about
horrible
it.
person to ask
I got
because
one.
I like the dark, twisted shows that are probably not age appropriate. But as a general theme, shows and plays and stories that in some way deal with human aspects we don't generally think about or want to think about, that are sharing different cultures, different human experiences, those kinds of things is what I look for in a piece. I love the entertainment shows as much as the next person, but when art can really communicate something, a struggle, a conflict, growth, coming of age, that's what I look for in a show.
Mine's not as deep. I worked on that's a beautiful answer. Mine's not as deep. I worked on a production of The 39 Steps. It was my first community theater show while I was still in high school. And that group very specifically, it was called Run Rabbit Run. Shout out to Run Rabbit Run. It was in Hillsborough, Virginia. Just the collaboration. Yeah. The collaboration of just the nature of the show. It's very the technicians are some of the scenery. It was very interesting. And just working on that with the group of people we had, with the props we had, with the director we had was amazing. So, you had a question?
Yeah. What was the hardest sequence you guys have had to choreograph so far?
You choreograph. I'm just here for fun.
So, the two questions I always ask when I get onto a project are, do the characters want to fight, and can they fight? And the bigger the answer yes to the second question of can they fight, typically the longer we have to work with actors, depending on what abilities they already have. If I need somebody to look like Jet Li on stage, I have to get them to that point. So that can be the hardest part. Two specific answers come to mind. One being a show called Superior Donuts, which is fairly infamous in the stage combat community because it ends with what is scripted to be about a 5-minute fight. 5 minutes is a long time. There's 2 pages of beats written down in the script to this fight. And the characters are also older. So I had 2 60-year-old men that I had to get to do a 5-minute fight. So I was in with them a lot choreographing essentially a bar brawl in a donut shop. We got stunt donuts.
Yeah. Which is just delightful.
And so it took a long time to build up that fight. The other was a show called Moon Over Buffalo, which is two sort of aged Broadway greats. And their way of flirting with each other was sword fighting around backstage. So we had to do this sort of prolonged, they've been doing this for 30 years, so they're really good with swords, but also don't stab each other, don't stab the furniture, don't stab the innocent bystanders. So getting to them to that point with steel in their hand was a good time.
I don't know if it's a question really or an observation. I guess you call it an observation, but I noticed I actually had a lot more, off your point, a lot more difficulty with doing the choreograph because I had some martial training in my life.
Yes.
Scraps, and it was kind of weird to, like I had to go out after a bit because I noticed other reflexes wanting to take over. Like,
No, it absolutely is.
The block, you kept wanting to take my elbow because
Yeah.
that's what you do.
Exactly.
We see that all the time, and that is absolutely valid. Like a lot of us in the industry have martial arts training, so it is that weird gap of I know this move, but turn it on its head and training extra base code for it's a different version.
places, like,
Yeah.
martial arts training technique, of course, when I was taking, you don't want to hurt the partner there either, but it's done differently, so it's kind of, the sequence is different, it's kind of neat.
If I have more time to work with actors, especially ones with martial arts training, I'll do a little more prep work of like where momentum is coming from to try and change in their mind what direction we're going and make it a little more dance rather than something that they know cognitively so they can think about it differently and not follow down the convenient path, fortunate path. Behind you was the question?
Yeah, on the subject of long fights, I just want to get your opinion. There's a very well-regarded movie fight between Keith David and Roddy Piper and John Carpenter's They Live. I just want to get your opinion on that particular fight.
What's the name of this?
The movie is They Live by John Carpenter. Well, directed by John Carpenter. It's like a 10-minute fight between Roddy Piper and Keith David. Actually,
I don't know that I've seen that movie.
But I know what we're watching when we get home. So.
Yeah.
What about
It- Well, in particular, I mean, the great thing we can do, especially with TV and film, is even more illusion and trickery, where that fight could have been shot over the course of a week. And we can pick the best parts from each take, each scene, each camera angle, and really, really embellish what that looks like, which is an art form in itself, the editing process. That stunt and fight coordinators are actively actively part of the process to bring out other elements of the story than was originally choreographed live in person. A good example of that, I think one of the Bourne movies, they did a couple of scenes where they just copied and pasted a couple of things because it fit in and helped to lengthen the story. And you can if you're really paying attention, you can see, oh, that was the same punch as before, but it doesn't read that way in the context of a film, especially with quick cuts. Another fun trick that I love in film is called frame dropping, which you find a lot in superhero, superhuman, mutant kind of stories where they will drop a couple of frames to add the element of super speed or to make something look very fast. That they'll drop the frames of here and here so you just get that wicked fast punch and you can do so many fun things. That's what I got for that answer, not having seen that movie.
That's kind of like what I tell myself when I'm watching a Jackie Chan movie, is like, they only need one good take. Whereas in theater, you have to be able to do the same thing and get the same results.
Well, and that's where like there's a lot more crossover in the industry now than there used to be. There's so much crossover. There's well, more theater people going into the stunt world than stunt people going into the theater world. But at a base level, our technique tends to be less high impact because we have to do this potentially 8 shows a week, and if you get cast in Wicked, you could be doing this for the next 10 years. You just need the one good take.
Which you might do 50 times, but...
Right, which is where scope and scale becomes like, you have stunt people, you have stunt actors who are specifically trained to do some of these high impact stunts. And Jackie Chan has broken how many bones at this point?
We just watched a video of someone falling down an escalator, and we had to slow it down to be like, nope, that was
Did
those
they hit
shoulders.
their head?
He didn't get his head, okay.
Oh,
like,
yeah, stair falls are one
that's
of
a
my
whole other
favorites,
beast.
but also some of the most terrifying stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna turn us loose into the real world. What are 5 things we can watch from our couch that best exemplify what you Noble Blades strive? I love live theater, can't watch that from my couch.
This is fair. We've never gotten that question. It's a good question.
What's the show that Josh likes?
2 completely different lists.
It's like the play that goes wrong, but it's a different...
I don't remember the title, but there's a show called The Play That Goes Wrong, and there's a television program that I think is inspired by it.
Yeah.
It's probably this Something That Goes Wrong. The Goes Wrong Show. The Goes Wrong Show.
Yeah. That one's a very good one.
And it employs, it's essentially a pro shot of a stage, but it employs most of the tricks and tools that we use from the acting and movement side down to the scenic and prop side of slapstick, pain, conflict, fights, and really exemplifies some of that stuff.
So the Goes Wrong Show. Princess Bride, because it's great.
Yeah, Princess Bride is good. The Duelist, I would say. Oh, there's only the one really good fight, but I like Rob Roy. Three Stooges. Three Stooges is great. I mean,
Yes.
Rob Roy is a good one, actually. I think that some of the quicker fights are just one move, just for anything more how fights can go, and sometimes they can, a lot of fights between 2 people that mean each other ill can be over rather quickly, but, one of the duels, but, and I think it was a...
Count of Monte Cristo.
I think it was a Polish film, but it has the 2 gentlemen in it, I think were in service together, set in like 1800s in Poland, I think. And they had some pretty good saber fights in that. I wish I could remember the names off the top of my head.
I almost tend to go, slightly older, to the 80s and 90s, early 90s, early 80s, whatever. English.
Turn back with me now.
Where before we started getting into some of the quick cut fight scenes, Atomic Blonde is a fantastic one. Atomic Blonde, especially the fight scene through the apartment, employs so many of the typical stunt tricks that we see. Everything from throwing somebody through glass, which is it's not actual glass, and they employ small pyrotechnic devices so that the person isn't shattering the glass is shattering on its own. Use of found objects, the hose, fabrication and props, the freezer door that the guy gets smashed with. It's not an actual freezer door, even though he does get smashed with it. Things like that, that's a good one.
What about some film versions of some Shakespeare?
I am less...
I'm thinking of the fencing scene in Hamlet, at the end of Hamlet.
Yeah, if you can, and pretty much anything that you can find televised version of a play, whether it be a pro shot that's been put onto one of the streaming services, or one of the film adaptations. Royal Shakespeare Company does a lot of either pro shots or film adaptations of their plays. Is it Hollow Crown?
Yes.
Yeah. That whole series that goes through essentially the histories is great. It's got Tom Hiddleston, it's got a whole bunch of greats in there, and that's really well produced.
Do you feel that acting out, violence all day for your job helps you calm you down in your personal life?
Well, I always
work out all your aggressions.
I wouldn't say work out aggressions, but I do say theater is not therapy, but it is therapeutic. Whether it be exploring topics or, this is exercise for me. You get to be really physical, you get to do fun movements, you get to partner, you get to communicate. So I find catharsis through that, not necessarily the violence. I don't care about the violence, I care about the physicality. The first job I ever took was physical comedy and slapstick. It was a farce. There were no fights in it, but I was the fight choreographer. So that's what I find out of it. We are just about at time. We have 4 minutes left. I hope this has been a worthwhile endeavor.
You guys can find their information. They are the Noble Blades. Online, they are out of Reston. You can also always reach out to me at StageWorks at winmorefoundation.org. I am here. I am local. I am the local community. I run the local community theater here in Culpeper, and I partner with them quite often. So hopefully we will get them down here some more, and I'm really glad that you all joined us. So,
Thank you.